My sister Anna is special need. She has severe autism, and while she is verbal, most of her communication is physical, like sign language, due to her social discomfort. She does speak around family though, and has pretty bad cognitive skills. She can't comprehend boundaries and lives with our parents, so they can best watch her. I am getting married in 3 months. We planned a simple wedding and reception at my fiancé Michael's parents' barn and farm. Since it's all gonna be DIY and we aren't planning anything too expensive, we can do things pretty quickly since flowers, food, and decor will be provided by his family. I sent out invites last week and I asked that Anna not come. I told my parents I understood that would mean they may not show up, but it was just a heads up. Why no Anna? She has an issue with touching Michael and trying to kiss him. At times when we were at my parents' house, Anna would try and grab Michael's hands, try to lean in to kiss him, or would have a really bad shutdowns if she wasn't allowed to be directly next to him. We've tried speaking to her, but there's only so much we can do when she doesn't really understand. I told my parents I just want one day for Michael to be my partner and not Anna's comfort person. They called me selfish and asked how I expected them to agree to something like this. They told me Anna is disabled and may never experience a wedding of her own, and while I have Michael for probably the rest of our lives, she'll have no one, and that Michael and I can be a little more understanding to the reality of her life. I feel like a total ass, and what they're saying has really gotten to me, and I'm starting to question my decision. My parents called me letting me know they won't be coming and that it's best I don't bring Michael around anymore since I've chosen some man over my sister. They told me that Anna wanting to kiss Michael and hug him is normal for a woman her age, and that she doesn't understand what her feelings mean. I suggested they try to redirect her during the wedding, but they said Michael is gonna be family to her and he needs to get over it. I suggested they watch the wedding via web, and they said that's not fair and that they deserve to see things in person. I asked if I could pay for someone with proper credentials to watch her that day while they attention, and they asked what I would do when they died, and if I'd pawn her off every time. I dropped the unfortunate truth bomb that I don't want to put any more of my life aside for Anna anymore. I did it up until I turned 18. And that Anna is not my life's responsibility and I won't be her keeper. I assured them I'd pay for her care, but if she's okay doing this to Michael, then I worry for if I ever do choose to have children and what she'd do to them. They said I was sick for suggesting she'd do anything to my future children and hung up on me. They sent a lengthy text telling me not to contact them until I could do the right thing. My daughter received a bike from her uncle, my brother, on her 11th birthday. She was over the moon and excited to use it because it was on her wish list for so long. Days ago, I discovered that my husband reached out to my brother to ask for the recipient for the bike and returned it to the store, and kept the money for himself while my daughter was at school. The bike was at home. My daughter and I got home and she started crying after noticing the bike was gone. My husband was home at the time. He told me he returned the bike and got money in return to spend on something useful for us, since the bike was just there as a distraction and there was no need for it now since we're the dead of winter. I was aggravated and lost it on him, saying it wasn't his, didn't come from him, and he didn't pay for it, so he had no right to touch it, knowing our daughter's been wanting it for a long time, and my brother was decent enough to buy it for her despite barely having money to get him by. I told him what he did was theft and insisted he hand over the money to me so I could repurchase it, but he said he spent it on stuff for the house and doesn't have any money left now. But I knew about the money he was stashing away in the bedroom that he forbade me from tossing, and I took some of it and went out to repurchase the bike while he was out the next day. He found out and verbally lashed out at me, saying I should have never touched the money he was saving for himself, which isn't much, but I lashed right back that I had to so I could repurchase the bike he took from under our daughter. He explained that he didn't keep the money for himself and instead spent it for necessities for our home, but he was at fault for taking the bike in the first place and he was responsible for getting it back. He yelled at me for almost 10 minutes, then stormed outside and started smoking. My daughter asked why her dad was upset and that she no longer wants the bike if dad doesn't want her to have it. But I assured her that's not the case and told her she shouldn't feel guilty and to just focus on enjoying her bike. My husband hasn't stopped grilling me about how I disrespected and undermined him, and managed to make our daughter hate him after making him look like the bad guy. I again said he shouldn't have touched the bike. End of the story. He's called me thief and juvenile for taking money from his savings and being sneaky about it. I am a 39 years old male, and I lost my late wife 6 years ago. I have a 16-year-old son, Daniel, and I recently got engaged to my fiancé of 2 years. Her mom and I aren't on good terms because of how she behaves. She's a controlling, self-centered, Dolly Parton wannabe. I learned to ignore, but she's been annoying Daniel and criticizing his personality regularly. He's a private kid and still hasn't gotten used to the new family dynamic, but he's in therapy and is doing fine. She keeps diagnosing him left and right, calling him antisocial, autistic and other crap. Fact is, Daniel is a shy, well-mannered kid, but people confuse that with being antisocial. Mother-in-law tried several times to force Daniel to open up by embarrassing him with personal questions on family dinners and test his personality type. I've realized the effect her behavior had on Daniel, so I gave him the choice to no longer be in the same room / house as mother-in-law, and he appreciated this a lot. Mother-in-law didn't like that Daniel kept his distance and no longer visits and kept ing about how spoiled he will become for her daughter to deal with. I told her to stop bringing it up, but she cried, "I'm just doing this for Danny." Last week she visited unexpectedly, wanting to say hi to Daniel. After Daniel greeted her, he went into the bathroom and she went into the living room with my fiancé. I was in my bedroom when Daniel came and said his journal was gone. We looked for it but didn't find it. I asked my fiancé, who was alone in the kitchen, but didn't see it. I paused for a second to ask where mother-in-law was. My fiancé said in the living room, but I saw her coming down the stairs. I asked where she was. She said the bathroom. I saw her purse in hand, so I bluntly asked if she took Daniel's journal. She looked offended and called for my fiancé when I insisted to see inside her purse. She wanted to leave, but I didn't let her. Fiancé told me to stop it, but I insisted, and the journal was there. Mother-in-law tried to explain this was her only chance to get to know Daniel better because she cares about him. I blew up at her and berated her for stealing from my son and told her she's banned from my house for the stunt she pulled. She argued with me, then left. My fiancé apologized for her but said banning her from the house was over the top. It backlashed and father-in-law argued and hoped his daughter realizes how I am and call off the wedding for refusing to apologize to Mil. Fiancé said her family won't come to the wedding till I reconcile with her mom and cancel the ban, but I won't let my son be disrespected in his own house and asked my fiancé to understand. I'm refusing to reconcile but am aware this could ruin my relationship with all my in-laws, not just mother-in-law, and my fiancé thinks I'm selfish to cause drama. My son's dad is going through some financial issues at the moment and struggling to make ends meet, and I try to be understanding. I try my best to give my son nice things. Now his nice clothes are reserved for going out. If he wants to play, that's fine, but he can go and play clothes. I do not want him playing in those clothes, and I sent him over there with a bag of causal clothes. We go to mass every Sunday and I have him dressed nicely. Now during mass I gave him to my ex because at that point it is now his week to stay with Alex. However, every single time, Alex will come back to me and his clothes will be wrecked, whether it's played in dirt, ripped. The buttons are off, the jeans are stained or ripped as well. I've thrown out multiple shoes because my ex will not have him change into the play clothes that I sent him in and just let him play in the nice clothes. I do not have him like this all the time. I don't have him dressed dressy or in his nice clothes all the time, just when we're going to something important. Most of the time he's in stuff that he can play in, and comfortable clothes. It's not like I have him in that all the time to where I'm always stopping playtime to change. At this point I'm so over the nice clothes being ruined because he refuses to dress him and play clothes for whatever reason. So before mass ends I will have my son take off the nice clothes and dress in casual clothes. I've been doing this for about 2 months now, and it has helped my bank account a lot to not have to spend a fortune whenever they get wrecked. I'll also point out that I tell him this multiple times, every single time he brings him back with nice clothes being ruined. I will send him a message reminding him to please put him in play clothes before he plays in the mud or the park, etc. However, lately my ex has been very upset that I'm not sending him in nice clothes. I told him that I used to, but he kept on ruining them for whatever reason, and I don't want them ruined. He's saying that I'm flaunting in his face that he's broke right now and can't afford to buy him such nice clothes. That is not at all the case. I said that that is his own insecurity talking because I have never ever done that and I'm giving him multiple chances. I'd even be fine if he at least washed them to the point where they weren't unwashable and stained. However, he keeps saying that I am rubbing in his face that he can't buy him nice clothes right now. He needs those clothes whenever they go out to somewhere nice, and I'm being an asshole to him because he lets his kid play, and I don't want him to enjoy his time with his son and they're just clothes. I said if it has such a little significance to him then he doesn't need them that bad and there is no argument here. He's pissed at me. I told her to a couple of my friends and family and they agree that I'm the insensitive to his situation.